Have you ever heard of a knot deer? The best description I've ever heard for a knot deer was if you took somebody that had never seen a deer, gave them a very poor description of a deer, and asked them to draw it. It's often said they're a bit bigger than a normal deer, more like elk size. A knot deer doesn't have the peaceful, sweet look of Bambi, but more that of a predator, with his eyes more front-facing, sharper looking teeth, and very alert eyes. I've heard them described as anywhere from confused looking to menacing. As for what they actually are, there are a few thoughts. Common among city folks is the belief that knot deer are simply regular deer that are diseased or suffer from birth defects. Many Appalachian residents prefer to think they harbor the spirits of the forest within them. Some Native Americans have been known to refer to them as skinwalkers or wendigos. The following occurred in the fall of 2019 near my home in western North Carolina. If you're from this area, or you've ever been here in the fall, you know it's the most beautiful place to be just before winter sets in. Camping is our favorite thing to do in the fall. This particular weekend, I was going to meet up with some buddies at one of our favorite campsites. I would be a little late because I had to work that Friday. Luckily, the Forest Service road runs right across from my house, so when I got home from work, I was able to throw my gear into my Honda Talon and take off. It had just started getting dark, but I wasn't concerned as I knew my way to the camp very well. If you've never been in a side-by-side on a dirt road in the mountains at night, let me tell you, it's a bit creepy. I was about halfway to camp when just as I came around a curve, I spotted a good-sized deer coming out of the woods. No way did I want to hit him, so I hit the brakes instead. I stopped a good 50 feet or so from him. That's when I noticed something about him wasn't quite right. I mean, he mostly looked okay, but something was off. He was big, broad-chested and muscular. His antlers seemed just a bit more forward than typical. His jawline was more squared off than normal. None of that was a big deal though. But when he made eye contact with me, his eyes seemed to lock on mine. I swear it felt like he meant to do me harm. I flashed my lights at him and hit the horn. No effect. He just stood there on the edge of the road, glaring at me. This was a dark, narrow road in the woods. To go past him, I'd be close enough to reach my arm out and touch him. This did not appeal to me. Going past him didn't sound fun, but sitting there staring at him was equally not fun. I decided to ease forward just a bit to hopefully scare him away. Well, evidently he didn't like that, because then he proceeded to rear up on his hind legs. There he stood, front legs swinging wildly, kind of hopping on his back legs, blowing and huffing the entire time. I don't remember making the decision to hit the gas, but somehow I shot around him. My Honda using all 1,000 cc's and screaming like a banshee. Not once did I look back. I was afraid I might see him there. By the time I rolled into camp, my buddies were all sitting around the fire chilling. If you're a guy, you probably understand what I did next. As I exited the side-by-side and walked rather rapidly up to the fire, I told the guys there was a huge bear in the road, and he chased me halfway to camp. This put everyone on alert, but allowed me to avoid questions and endless ridicule.